All right, man. What's good? Back here for the weekly Bible study. Um, so I started Deuteronomy, and I made it up through chapter 20. So this is going to be Deuteronomy. Well, things I got, obviously not from every single chapter, but things I got along the way. So chapter 1, verse 17, and I'm gonna start reading out the actual verses. But this one says, "You shall not show partiality in judgment. You shall hear the small as well as the great. You shall not be afraid in any man's presence, for the judgment is God's. The case that is too hard for you, bring to me and I will hear it." And I like that one because it's basically saying, man, just lean on the Lord. Like, you shouldn't fret or have fright about any worldly thing. He said he got you. And that's, what I got from him. I really like, I'm really liking Deuteronomy so far. This might be one of my favorite books in the Bible up until this point. This is the fifth book. I think this was my favorite so far. So then we got chapter 1, verse 31. And he says, well, verses 30 and 31, where he says, the Lord your God, who goes before you, he will fight for you according to all he did for you in Egypt before your eyes. And in the wilderness where you saw how the Lord your God carried you as a man carries his son, and all the way that you went until you came into this place. And from that, I just kind of see it as, look at, don't forget the things that God has done for you up until this point. If you look at yourself in your lowest moments, if you look at the hardships and trials and tribulations you had in your life, like, you still standing here today. And that's what the wilderness is. Like, the wilderness is like the hard times in your life. And God basically saying, well, I think this was Moses speaking to the Israelites, but he was saying, like, man, look what he had done for you then. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. And then we go to chapter 4, and it says warning against adultery, but not like adultery with an A, it's adultery with an I. And I got verses 29 through 31. And that one is, the Bible pages be so thin. Okay. He says, but from there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him if you seek him with all your heart and with all your soul. When you are in distress and all these things come upon you in the latter days, when you turn to the Lord your God and obey his voice, for the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will not forsake nor destroy you, nor forget the covenant of your fathers which he had sworn to them. And that's basically saying, man, turn to God. Like, you got to actually, like, go towards God and seek him, and you got to really mean it. Like, you got to really want that relationship with him. And if you do that, like, he'll never turn his back on you. You just, forever seeking his grace and his presence and his word and his guidance. And, he won't fail you. But you gotta actually want that relationship for yourself. It got to be true from within. That's what I got from that. And you seek them, you'll find them. You know what I'm saying? And then I got from that same chapter 4, verse 40. It says, "You shall therefore keep his statutes and his commandments, which I command to you today, that it may go well with you and your children after you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which the Lord your God is giving you for all time." And basically, if you follow his word, you'll live long. Like, listen to God's word, and it'll prolong your days. Like, it'll prolong your life. So then we got chapter 5. So chapter 5, I got verse 21. And I wrote a little note. I said this is like a big problem in the world today. But it says, and I think this is the Ten Commandments. I think the Ten Commandments was being restated right here. And I think this is the last one, actually, the 10th one. It says, "You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, and you shall not desire your neighbor's house, his field, his male servant or his female servant, his ox, his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's." And basically saying, bro, don't be jealous of people. Don't want the things that other people have. Like, Don't have envy for people for like the things they have. Like, bro, if I got a homeboy, I shouldn't lust after his woman. My homeboy got a hard car, like that guy across the street got a hard car. I shouldn't want to take those things away from him. I shouldn't want, you know. And I feel like that's a big problem in the world today, man. Everybody looking at stuff that everybody else got, and it's depressing when you always think about what everybody else got and not what you got. So then chapter 7, blessings of obedience. I got chapter 7, verse 8, and it says, "Because the Lord loves you, and because He will keep the oath which He swore to your fathers, the Lord has brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you from the house of bondage, from the hand of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt." And the Lord is like He delivered us all from bondage to sin. Like we are all delivered from that with I'm sorry, my dog out there making noise. But yeah, basically, the Lord has brought us from a lot, or He will bring us from a lot once you find Him and His glory. Just like He brought the Israelites out of Egypt, He brought them out of bondage. He will do the same for you. Then we got chapter 8, verse 2. But I really like the whole chapter 8. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but verse 2. And it says, "Warnings against forgetting the Lord." That's the title of it. But verse 2 is, and I think chapter 8 is my favorite. Deuteronomy chapter 8 might be my favorite chapter out of the Bible up until this point. But verse 2 says, "And you shall remember that the Lord your God led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness to humble you and test you, and to know what was in your heart, whether you keep His commandments or not." And that's just saying like all of the pitfalls, the downfalls, the setbacks and stuff. All of those have a reason. It's really to prepare you for like what's next in life. So when things get hard, you should look at the lessons that moment is trying to teach you, or the things that you need to incorporate into your life to get past this particular, challenge or setback in life, because that's something you need to go to the next level in life. So then we got chapter 11, verse 25. And we come over here. "No man shall be able to stand against you. The Lord your God will put the dread of you and the fear of you upon all land where you tread, just as He has said to you." Man, fear no man. As simple as that. Fear no man. If you walking with God, you should fear no man. Boy, am I lying? I'm just looking at my haircut, cuz I be slicing that thing up. You did. You know what I'm saying? Then we have chapter 17, verse 16. Okay. And the title lists various instructions. But he shall not multiply horses for himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt to multiply horses. For the Lord has said to you, you shall not return that way again. And from that, I got, that obviously you need the context of the rest of like that chapter and what's going on. But basically it's like, don't look to the past. You know what I'm saying? Just like keep, and it was really that last sentence that I really wanted to point out, where it said, you shall not return that way again. Like, don't look back. Don't worry about the past. Just keep moving forward. And then chapter 20, I have verse 1 and I have verse 19. And this will be my last chapter so far. I think Deuteronomy has like 34 chapters in it. Let's see. 33. But yeah, verse 1 and verse 19. So verse 1 says, when you go out to battle against your enemies and see the horses and chariots and people more numerous than you, do not be afraid of them, for the Lord your God is with you, who brought you up from the land of Egypt. Another one of those verses, just like, as long as you're walking with God, bro, you don't got no reason to be afraid. You ain't got no reason to be scared of nothing. And then verse 19, it says, when you besiege a city for a long time while making war against it to take it, you shall not destroy its trees by wielding an axe against them. If you can eat of them, do not cut them down to use them in siege, for the tree of the field is man's food. And I just thought that verse was interesting. I think it's kind of speaking to, like, whenever you're going through something, like, use the things around you to your advantage if you can. That's kind of what I got from it. I didn't really have too much to say about it. That's one of those ones I just thought was interesting, you know. But yeah, that's my little Bible study for today. Tune in every Sunday for that. And yeah, that's it.